here. We're doing stuff. Things are happening. Okay, I think I've got everything on track. Do of course, Dream Elements is quick today. Yes, of course. On the day where it's not super vital that it goes fast. Which way do I want to go with this first? Yeah, you know what? We'll be risky and go full lightning. It'll be entertaining. Standard mode. So how this works is you literally just kind of walk around in the dark and try not to die. Make it to 20 minutes, you win. If you don't make it to 20 minutes, you're probably dead. And as you see at the bottom of the screen there, the controls are just that simple. Point, gun, murder thing, try not to get touched. There will be other enemies, other mechanics as we go along, but that's pretty much the baseline. I haven't really used the ghosts much, and I don't have anything relating to lightning here, so we'll go ahead and take the ghost. Ghost might be fun. At least his bullet does pierce, so that might actually be a lot more useful than I've been giving it credit for. Especially if I put that on the ghost summoning lady. She can probably do terrible things with that. I need to keep that in mind. I've only played the game for a little bit. I've played enough to unlock all the characters and the weapons, but I did not do anything with the meta progression. As of yet. Or at least not much. I think I put like 3 points down because I realized later on that the meta progression existed. Yeah, those guys with all the pustules on them, they blow up if you get close to them. They'll also blow up if you kill them. You can usually set them off in the crowd to make your life a bit easier. Other than that, just keep on killing until you can't keep killing anymore. There we go, that's what I need. Now every second shot I make will send down lightning on top of the 50% chance I have of every shot I make creating lightning, so now we're basically just doubling down on how much lightning we're summoning. Which with the machine guns is going to be stupid, because the screen's just going to start filling with lightning bolts. Which is just good fun. That's a lot of boys. I have a lot of lightning. And for those of you that are wondering, that know anything about this, why I'm freezing things without having picked up the freezing power-up, that's because one of the meta progressions I grabbed was a 2% chance to freeze things. Or burn them. We'll go ahead and take extra bullets here. Give me some more coverage. Now, unlike most Vampire Survivor style games, you'll notice I have complete control over where I'm shooting. And whether I'm shooting. That's really the biggest deciding point for this one, in my opinion, is the fact that you actually have some control. You're not at the mercy of RNG whether your attack goes where you need it to at the time. You're still quite at the mercy of RNG as far as your upgrades go, though. I know which one I should be taking, but I'm trying to decide if I want to do something for fun. Let's take Split Fire. Sidestep through the crowd. And you will need to bear in mind that the whole time you're shooting, you will be slowed down. So do not just wildly fire. It will end poorly for you. The only reason I'm surviving to empty my magazine as frequently as I am is because the lightning is providing coverage. That's what I wanted. Now there's a chance every time lightning strikes that we'll get ammo back, basically allowing us to shoot near endlessly as long as it keeps proccing. Which, the more we get to shoot, the more we get to drop lightning. The more we get to drop lightning, the more bullets we get to shoot. Very nice loop that just makes things very simple for us. Let's raise the rate of fire. There's a couple particular upgrades I'm hoping to have show up just because they'll be really funny. We'll see if they actually show up. Nice. There's a handful of character-specific items that'll pop out of those chests when you kill the first boss. They're generally pretty nice, but depending on your setup, they can actually backfire horribly. I had one that straight up killed me, more or less, when I was testing things out before. I don't really want Fanfire, because it gets a little clunky. I'll go ahead and take the Electro Bug, in the hopes that we cause Lightning Mastery to show up. I really should be taking some speed increases at this point, though, because we're going to get into a real dodgy situation here soon. That's my cue to take speed. Now, our biggest issue with our gun is going to be that our regular shots do minimal damage. We are pretty reliant on the lightning to do any actual heavy lifting. That's okay. There's not that much in the way of heavy lifting needed till past the 10-minute mark, aside from one thing that'll be showing up soon. Yep, there he is. Say hello to the bane of my existence. 'Cause even if he doesn't get you, you'll notice the crowd starts to really home in on you around this time. That jump is deceptively dangerous. Hello. Ow. Welcome to death. Nope, that's it. That thing is just too fast. I needed to have gotten more speed upgrades to deal with that setup. Yeah, I figured you just adopted that as your official greeting at this point. Okay, let's do the really interesting one now. Grab another pickup range upgrade. So the grenade launcher. This is the weapon that I got a particular upgrade for that basically killed me. Because these explosions can hurt me too. And those hearts up there in the upper left, that is your entire health. Well, this isn't the free version I told you about. This is the actual full release, which was like $3. So, still basically free. Out of these choices, give me the magnetism, so I don't have to get so close to pick things up. Now, this character in particular has one neat trick they can do. They spin and just hurl all their remaining shots in random directions. That is not why I picked this character. We will see why I picked her if we can get the first chest to drop without me getting myself killed. Still not getting what I'm looking for. We'll just raise the fire rate. That'll be fine. Now, all those upgrades do go on branching skill trees, essentially. And it shows you the whole thing on that screen when you go to pick one, too. You may not know what those pictures mean, but you at least get an idea of what it leads to. Now, you can also use this grenade launcher, as you saw there, just basic as a mine launcher. Which, in a game full of crowds constantly, is pretty useful. No. Don't be tempted to be stupid again. Don't do the thing that killed you last time. As funny as it was a really bad idea. Show the smart way first, then you can show the dumb way. To explain the thought. See this? Oh, I didn't realize you can actually hover over these and they'll actually say what they do. Huh. But yeah, notice the whole bullet bounce thing? Yeah, there's a catch with grenades and bullet bouncing. That catch is they will not detonate on impact anymore once you have that. They will rebound and come straight back at you more often than not. And you will blow yourself up. Power shot leads to what I wanted. We're gonna go ahead and take that. I'm still taking something that's gonna be quite dangerous to my own health. But it'll be a lot more fun. And a lot more useful. Thankfully, near as I can figure, no matter how strong you make your grenades, they can't kill you in one hit. You still only take 1 heart worth of damage, no matter how high the damage is. There's a lot of run through the crowd situations in this game, because you kind of have to in order to get any of your resources. The game is just not having any of what I want right now. I mean, light bullets will actually be helpful. Having a 7th grenade in the launcher is gonna be helpful. Now, it's not the most visually interesting thing. It's mostly about what you do with the upgrades you can get ends up making this game into anything. Specifically, what I'm taking now is going to be the interesting part. Now, every enemy that dies scatters little bombs all around them. This is going to be incredibly hazardous to my own health, but it'll be a lot of fun. As I just turn the whole screen into a minefield. Yep, there's the first self-damage. You'll notice it can just kind of chain through the crowd without my input at all. Yes! This is the one I wanted. Bullet Storm. You get 2 more projectiles for every shot, and that is straight up exactly 2 It's not a multiplier, it's not anything like that. You will get 2 more projectiles no matter what weapon you're using. It does lower your fire rate a little bit, which is and gives you some spread, but that's to be expected. Those chests also give you a decent supply of extra experience. We want armed and ready, so I have even more shots. But now every time I pull the trigger, 3 grenades come out. And they do full damage, unlike the spread upgrade you can get from the power-up levels. So now we've massively inflated our coverage. We just need to be very careful not to blow ourselves up. As you know, doing something like this would be a really bad idea. That is pretty much a everything has gone wrong, spin and pray option at that point. I was not paying attention to where I was standing. I'm going to end up killing myself. I stand corrected. The cat is going to be my death again because I'm not going to have enough room to move. Yep, there it is. I get too greedy for the attack upgrades, and I end up doing something stupid to get myself in range of the cat. Now, those who want a lot of health, you'll want to be Diamond over here. Diamond starts with 6 health. Really hard to get Diamond killed unless you're doing something really stupid. I'm gonna show another silly setup I've done before. Every time Lilith kills something, a ghost comes out of it and targets on the nearest thing. The crossbow, as long as you stand still, will start hitting harder and harder. Now, for the most part, I'm not going to actually be making use of the concept of standing still, because that's a real risky play, especially early on when you have no real weapon power. And you'll notice these guys do take more than 20 damage to kill. They have like 22 or so HP. Big thing for the crossbow for us, and what I'm planning to do, is the fact that it has piercing 1 stock. If I can get the upgrades I want, I'll show you something very silly. If I don't get them, this'll probably still be pretty good. Biggest problem we're gonna have is I have no clearance right now. Because the starting damage on the crossbow, unless you stand still, can't kill any of them. She is big into summon damage, because summon damage will apply to her ghosts. Or I could just get the 1 hit of bullet damage I need to be able to kill everything in 1 shot till they scale up. This is what I need towards the thing I want, though, so we're gonna go ahead and take Power Shot first. Now every shot of the crossbow will kill 2 targets, as long as I don't shoot, like, into the sky somewhere. Not quite what I wanted, but I'll take Big Shot. Big Shot will work. Big Shot might lead to the upgrade I want, since it is the one at the end of that tree that I want. there's absolutely none of the things I actually want in here. Go magic knife. It'll just fly around and do silly things. It's going to be particularly useful right now because it does damage based on how much damage your weapon does. So everything that knife touches is going to die. So with our current pretty weak killing ability, that's going to be very helpful. Not what I was looking for, but I'll take double shot. We'll still have enough damage to kill, and this will double the amount of targets I'm killing in one go. You'll notice the crossbow has a lot of knockback on anything it doesn't kill. And don't get me wrong, this game could do with a lot more upgrades, a lot more weapons, a lot more everything. But for $3, this is just good, honestly. It does its job well, there's nothing wrong with it. It certainly won't be replacing anything. It's like the top of its type, but doesn't have to. This is what I wanted, Reaper rounds. Bullet damage increase, piercing up by 1 flat, and every time the piercing bullet kills a target, it pierces to the next one. Basically, with the strength of these crossbow bolts, we have endless piercing now. We shoot straight through the crowd with every shot. Nothing aside from a boss will stop this shot. And since it has flat 2 piercing, it'll go through bosses too. So, we just basically fire into the crowd and spam skulls everywhere. Now I'm going to deviate from my plan now that I've got that. Or I won't. Never mind. I was going to deviate and get some speed upgrades, and then the game decided no speed upgrades for you. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get Ghost Friend, then, to further enhance our killing power, because we're gonna need to get rid of that cat ghost thing when it shows up as fast as possible, since we're not gonna be able to avoid it. There we go, she gets summon attack speed and attack damage. Her intended purpose is as a summoner, pretty much. I just use the crossbow with her because it gets a lot of ghosts on screen fast. Okay, we got the first speed upgrade, so we might be okay. Just don't get me wrong, you probably can avoid him without any speed upgrades, it's just a lot harder. With my focus split between trying to explain things and trying to live, odds of me living are not great. He also has a lot of health. You'll notice the ghosts are keeping our general situation under control. That and the knife. He can go in and out of the barrier, and we can't, unfortunately. Which is a bit upsetting. Get us a better reload rate, since the crossbow is, of course, a single-shot weapon. Freeze proccing. You'll notice the barrier is independent of him. The barrier just goes down after a while. I've had that happen a lot because I can very rarely kill this thing faster than the barrier can go down. Now you get one of 3 book choices after defeating the second boss. These will vary from character to character, it seems. Either that or they vary from run to run. I'm not entirely sure which way that goes. Right now, we've got the Tome of Elements, which it's really good if you've gone like full lightning or a lot of burn or something, because it cuts your bullet damage in half, but makes all that better. This one I haven't seen before, the +2 bullet bounce, but you lose health and damage. And then there's just the I gotta go. I'm gonna take the bouncing bullets, because I think those will be fun. It did cut our damage severely, but it appears to still be working just fine on the whole. I just need to stand still for a second or so, and then I'll still be able to kill reasonably easily. Now, if I were a braver player, I probably could be running towards what I'm shooting more often than I do, and be able to scoop up the experience faster. One big difference between this one and most of these types of games I've noticed is the experience stays on the ground permanently. It doesn't seem to ever fade. So you can take your time getting a hold of it. Let's take Run and Gun to get us some more ground speed. Now, walk speed as opposed to your regular speed, I believe, is your walk speeds when you're shooting, which is why that one's called Run and Gun. So now we won't have much interruption in our pacing whenever I fire my crossbow. So we can just kind of jet around the map. Now you might be starting to think, oh, this is over now, huh? That you've just won. No. This is gonna get a lot worse real soon. I've yet to win this game. I've won most of these other ones, but I've not managed to win this one yet. I won the 10-minute version in the demo. I did win that at least once with a really stupid setup I had. I've not managed to beat this one yet. I've gotten close. I've gotten, I think, down to 5 minutes before. But as you can see, things are starting to get a little ugly. And it got out of control. I didn't have quite what I wanted, because RNG's really not on my side today, apparently. But that gives you an idea how that one works. I have not tried Hina at all. I unlocked her and then didn't use her because I looked at that 2 HP and the Shadow Clones and went, I don't think this is going to work out for me. Ooh, that could be really strong. Okay, let's get some extra burn chance. Yeah, I should have actually used the bats with Lilith, but it's fine. Go ahead and just use the basic revolver, so I'm not sure what to do with Hina in particular. Okay, it's just an AoE swing. I wasn't sure if it was gonna have a gun of its own and shoot for a bit, or if it was gonna just AoE attack. Okay, that dash is probably gonna get me killed. That is very likely to get me killed. I'm gonna forget the range on that, and it's just suddenly gonna slam me into something. Let's get a hit of Vitality to undo that 2 health problem. So there is a durability setup if you really want to go all in on it, but it has its risks. The fact that she can just kind of do that a lot is nice. But you'll notice, like here, Giant will give you 2 more health, makes your model 50% bigger, which makes your hitbox 50% bigger, and it slows you down. But after you either take that or Anger Point, you can get regeneration. Which is nice till you think about the fact that you've got to last a minute and a half before you gain 1 health. Just to show it off, though, I will take Giant. This is 50% bigger size. We are bigger than the enemies now. This is a problem. And the reason I took it didn't work out. I was hoping it was going to make my shadow clones similarly bigger, but I don't think they are bigger. Actually, the AoE might be a little bigger. Can't quite tell. In hindsight, I probably should have took the shotgun, since the intent seems to be to get close to things so you can use your shadow clones. And I'm just gonna go all in on that tree for the fuck of it. Just take Anger Point, and then we'll take regeneration afterwards. Sure. There might be some kind of like clever play to purposely letting yourself get hit. Counterbalance that move speed decrease. Okay, you can't dash through things. That was good information. I was pretty confident it wasn't gonna let me do that, but curiosity dictated I had to try. That was just me angling it badly. Okay, we'll take Glare. Oh, we might be screwed right out the gate, though. I've made enough bad choices that this is starting to fall apart already. We are by no means out of this yet, but it is not great. At this point, I really should just be spamming clones, probably, because there's going to be enough targets for them to hit anyway. It certainly beats my walking speed right now by a long stretch. Desperately need to do some cleanup, otherwise we are never gonna get anywhere. Because we can't really go in. There we go, take more vision range and let Glare do its work. So how Glare works is everything inside my vision circle here will take 10 damage a second. Which will be really useful for just cleaning up the dregs that survive my shots. That's more or less. And as you keep increasing your vision range, it's going to get real silly. It can actually do really good work if you set up for it. I was hoping to see regeneration, but I didn't spot it on any of the tiers we've gotten so far. Because at this point, we desperately need it. Otherwise, we are not going to get any health back before the cat shows up and we're just going to die. There we go. That'll help a lot. I wish I had that before. There's regeneration, which is what we also needed. Okay, we might still be in this. We might still be okay. I now just need to dash every time he dashes, and we should mostly be safe from the cat. As long as I pick a decent landing spot, of course. If I just hurl myself into an enemy, it's not gonna end well for us. Magnetism because we need it. Thankfully, there's also an audio cue for when that thing's going to charge. Oh, good. I regenerated just in time, apparently. Dangerously close on that one. Didn't like that idea at all. That's the big play with Glare right there, is having all of your on-hit effects trigger off of Glare as well. I've yet to have any when I pick up Glare, ironically enough, but that would be the big play with it, probably. We are in trouble. Yep. Definitely in trouble. I say as I do something brave and stupid, trying to unseat the bad situation we're in. I hit the dash, but it didn't count it in time. You saw the dash animation start, but it just wasn't quite at the right timing. I would assume, like a frame or two too late. So it didn't count the invincibility till afterwards.
Well, he's dead. Real shame. He will be missed.
And that remains the most popular sound alert other than the highs, it seems. Yeah, we'll do the... I mean, that wasn't that delayed. Do the other heavy spraying option. And with redeems like that, you are gonna have to basically predict it happening if you want it to really be perfectly on time. Not what I was looking for. We'll go ahead and take Glare again, because I want to see if I can actually set up for that properly this time, instead of just having it as an extra. We're already gonna be throwing a lot of fire on our own. Now, the thing with Scarlet is, like a couple of the others, we don't have an active ability or anything. We just have every few shots fire comes out. My intent is going to be to get, like, the pyro bullets, the ice bullets, all that good stuff, and then get the on-hit effect with glare, so that hopefully we start freezing and burning everything in our sight radius. In the hopes of actually having some control over the situation we're in, compared to usual. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna be over here setting the world on fire. Okay, there we go. We got sight magic, so we don't need to worry about that now. And thanks to the meta progression upgrades that give us greater pickup and sight radius, glare is just flat out stronger than it would normally be as well. It's still not giving me what I want, but I'll take bullet bouncing. I swear the game knows what you're going for sometimes and it just actively refuses. Just absolutely says, no, you are not getting to do what you wanted to do. What you are wanting to do is stupid and going to be too strong. No, refuse. Decent point. We did get frost bullets, though. I was hoping for pyro bullets first, because there's a couple things involved with that that would have been really useful. But freezing everything near me is probably better. Realistically, probably better, considering the bouncing bullets will also help freeze things in my general area. So I may want to take a health upgrade here soon so that I have health at all. The big thing's gonna be I'm gonna want to actually start spraying side to side more so that I actually get the fire across multiple targets. We might want electricity as much as I would like to get the pet dragon, or I could just go all in on fire rate. Now let's take at least the base electricity just to have some help keeping the numbers under control. That lightning will just hit whatever. There's another option that would be lovely to have, and I still haven't had it show up. I keep hoping for the holy shield that we saw early on to come back up again, and just not having anything to do with that idea. Okay, we'll take Power Shot and start working toward Reaper Bullets then, if it's not gonna play ball. This way our bullets will pierce reasonably far along with the flame. Just basically give us a flat damage increase across the board there. Trouble though. We are in big trouble. So I'm getting hemmed away from any of the experience. There's the health I wanted. Actually, was it a unique upgrade for Scarlet that I was thinking of? It might be a unique upgrade for Scarlet that I'm particularly looking for. I also can't help but notice that we've misplaced the boss, and that's a problem. Because he probably died and dropped a chest somewhere. And if I can't find that... There we go, found it. Okay, we're okay. Everything is fine. That could have been really unfortunate. I don't want any of these, really. Take Take energized in the hopes of keeping my ammo up, I guess. Not quite what I wanted, but that'll work. More fire rate, the more we burn. Oh god, that's gonna get stupid. Now we just need ammo. You'll notice the ice is a pretty good counter to the cat. He can't really charge us if he can't move. Biggest problem we have is sometimes when you freeze him, he'll still animate anyway. Presumably based on a timing thing on that one. We can really hurt him. There we go. That's, I think, the first time I've managed to kill him before he does anything stupid. Since we're going all in on this, let's take the Tome of Elements. Since the fire's the star of the show anyway. Why can't I get pyro bullets at all? They're supposed to be here. We'll take the frostbite because it'll lead to a good thing. I swear, if they patched out being able to get pyro bullets as Scarlet, I'm gonna be very upset. It wouldn't make any sense, really, for her not to be able to get pyro bullets, but I'd be very upset if it was true. I've just straight up not seen them today at all, now that I think about it. I think it's come up maybe once. Which does disprove the idea of it potentially having been removed. That's if I am remembering right, that it actually was there at all. Who knows, maybe there's just this grand conspiracy in my brain that made up pyro bullets existing. It'd be real nice to have them because that would be even more fire, which means the fire rate would go through the roof even faster. Intense glare, because I don't remember what the last upgrade for glare is. It might be useful. Pity we didn't get the option for triple max ammo, like I've seen before. I think that was one of the books that would do triple max ammo. That would work so nicely for what we're doing. Okay, it shrinks your range back down a bit, but it makes it happen twice as often. That could be really good considering we've got our freeze and such attached to that now. Basically just got a massive flamethrower. So there's a flame cannon, but I was never really that impressed by it when I used it. Still no pyro bullets. The hell? Am I just locked to these trees because I picked up the things for them? Is it like the other ones where it sometimes just locks you because you picked a couple selections? So that is really unfortunate. But then, no, because there's the starting for the Tree of Magnetism's there, so no, that can't be right. As well as the start for multiple other trees. So that can't be the way that is. I'm gonna take Magnetism though, because there is a vision upgrade attached to that. We can push glare a bit better. We are keeping really good screen control compared to a lot of my other builds so far, though. I'm pleased. And of course, as soon as I say that, we start losing screen control. Every time we reload, we start having real serious issues. Yeah, at this rate, Siege. We ain't gonna live to see it, though, because that reload's too damn long. I needed to get the reload upgrades. I like the idea where that was going. I like where that thought was. Might want fire rate and reload rate per rank. But I do like mysticism. Problem is, I'm pretty sure we can only have one of each of these active at a time. The other option is I get Elemental Shield and have a second of invincibility as I'm spraying fire wildly across the whole screen. Ooh, no, Elemental Barrage will work perfectly. Because that'll keep boosting my fire rate periodically. I just want all of these! Which is, of course, why they don't let you have that. Because, like, look at this. With what we were just doing, the amount of fire I spread everywhere, it would have a ridiculous chance of having at least some of it spread. So you would just be burning the whole screen down. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the last level of mysticism. We're gonna grab Elemental Barrage. We're gonna try that setup again. This time I'm going to show the Flame Cannon. Though the mysticism effect is not gonna be as good with the Flame Cannon since, as you see there, the Flame Cannon's guaranteed to burn things. The biggest issue I had with the Flame Cannon is it's a little slow. That's kind of why I'm leaning towards setting things like Elemental Barrage and such off with it to compensate for its fire rate. But the fact that it only has 12 shots in it at all is gonna be an issue either way. Combine that with the fact that it does, like, no damage. And it's just a little sad in general. Still no sign of pyro bullets. Start getting that fire rate up. Don't get me wrong, I understand that I don't really need pyro bullets with the flame cannon. It's just a principle thing at this point to be looking for pyro bullets to understand why I haven't been able to get them. Still no pyro bullets. It's so weird. I can only assume the pool is just really not on my side anymore, and that's the whole problem. I've been having too much fun, therefore I'm not allowed. With its fire rate and bullet amount, we probably want the spread shots. Especially since it really isn't built to do damage anyway. 10% of 3 is just 1 damage loss, so no. Does the one shot behind me make the same bullet? Yes, it does. Okay, we can set things in front of me and behind me on fire. Sadly, it does not make me send fire waves behind me, but that's okay. That might get a bit confusing. There we go, there's Pyromage. Is what I was wanting was Firestarter. Every 4th shot, launch a fireball that deals 40 damage. It also inflicts burn in a large area. That would have worked perfectly with the machine gun. It's less important here, but there would also have been Soothing Warmth to give me basically infinite health with that setup. I'm going to go ahead and take Pyromage just to make sure that it doesn't wander off, because the burn heal and such will still be useful in this setup, just not anywhere near as ridiculous. We won't just be vomiting fireballs everywhere. Take Intense Burn now. A lot of what we're doing is burn damage. I would almost go as far as to say is we're reliant on burn damage. Go ahead and take the Holy Shield. And you might be thinking, oh, that's just to protect me from damage. No, there's more to it than this. And you'll see once we potentially get that upgrade. First chest. Okay. That's leaning into my bullet. It's not doing anything. That's fine. There it is. 25% reload rate and move speed while Holy Shield is active. There's also one where it'll call random lightning down every second while the shield's active. That one's nice, but not what I'm looking for on this setup. And of course, there's also just it comes back every minute, which is very nice. I know everybody's probably disappointed that I keep not taking the Dragon Egg. It's because it takes 3 minutes for the damn thing to hatch. So unless that's your first upgrade, I don't think it's a good choice. It just doesn't fit in any of the builds I've been doing so far. There is one that I'll be doing here in a minute that it'll fit into, though. So we'll get to see the dragon. You gotta be patient. That will probably be the last run of this game. So I will be switching to another similar one here in a moment, since you've basically seen everything this game has to offer at this point. What I'm basically intending to do is I'm going to be switching between these more or less on the basis of switching between the more active and the more passive ones like this. So the more it has to do on screen and all of that, the more likely it'll be to be the one that gets played next. Right now. Actually, reverse that. We're going to be playing a less active one next, and then it'll be a more active one again after that. Because this is the most active one of these type of things that I've ever seen. we're actually in full control of our attack. Ooh, I almost fucked that up real bad. Just in the herd. I realize that's actually a lot more of a deer than a cat, because it's even trying to ram me with horns. I've not really taken that close a look at it till now. I've usually been too busy running in fear of it. Yes, faster regenerating shield, please. The fact that it takes 2 minutes is pretty brutal. It taking 1 minute will be much better. So I think we might be in trouble. Sec. Okay. Very good. Same set. Disappointing. Oh, guess we're just taking the burn damage boost then. See if we can start burning our way out of our problems better than we did last time. Should mean each fire wave starts really clearing the crowd. Really nice if that shield would come back right about now. Getting decidedly uncomfortable with my lack of shield. This right here is why you don't rely on gods or holy protection at all. There we go. This is never on goddamn time. I need it, I need it, I need it. Cricket, 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 cricket. Oh, you needed help? Okay, here you go. Get some fireballs. They're gonna be real hard to see in among the fire waves, but they're there. They'll be doing their job. Oh, I had no real choices there with the way I was moving. I would have had to have gotten control of myself back a lot better than that. Or I could have snuck between them. Let me show off the magic lens. Basically, as long as you fire in the direction that this curved lens is, your shots will be bigger and do more damage, and other effects will be applied to them as you upgrade it. I don't think we're going to have the opportunity to make too much use of that in our current situation, as our situation continues to get worse. I disagree with that one making contact, but I accept it. Okay, so the last run of this game is going to be all about summons. Specifically, we're going to use the bat gun. The bats are, as it says there, both bullets and summons, and she summons spirits, so if we just go all in on summon-related things, in theory, this will go well. we're gonna go ahead and take the seismic wards as well for fun, see if that does anything good for us. A little bit of protection goes a long way. And for those who do infinitely better than I do at this, there is a scaling difficulty. As you win the game, you can keep scaling it higher. There's also fast mode where the game is 10 minutes instead of 20. I might actually do one more and show that off, just as a fast thing. Before we switch. I realized I probably should have shown that off, and I forgot. Yeah, you can see immediately what the initial problem with the bat gun is, in that it does, like, no damage. I was going all in on summon, so we'll get the knife first. Because in theory, since the bats count as both summons and weapons, summon damage increases should count towards them getting stronger, which will then make the dagger stronger. That might actually loop in a favorable way. Bats are now doing 8 damage and the knife is doing 9, so it gained 1 more damage than it would have normally. So yes, it did apply basically twice, because it applied the damage bonus of the bats and then it applied the 40% to the knives separately. Which is what I was hoping for. I held a little too long there. Let's get the heavy weapon, which is going to be an orbital scythe. That's been a constant problem, is stuff getting close, so if we just have an orbiting scythe that keeps things from getting close, that might work out. Go ahead and get the magic lens, because it gets buffed by summon damage, and I didn't get to show you guys the improvements for it. And since the bat's home, we can just fire into the magic lens all the time, and it'll work out well enough. You know, till something's right up my tail like that, that's a bit of a problem. Got bounced by one of my hits and ended up getting sent into me. That is upsetting. I think the projectile increase is only going to give me 1 more bat, since they don't count as 2 separate weapons firing bats. But the rest of these options kinda stink. Yeah, we'll go ahead and go triple bat. It's at least still more damage going out. What? Did I just miss an enemy there? I'm gonna assume I just didn't see something. Okay, we're gonna do that again, but we're gonna go on to the 10-minute mode. Faster experience gain, 10-minute survival instead of 20. This, I assume, is going to be more in line with the original demo in terms of length and scaling. Either that, or it's just going to compress the 20-minute game down by half into the 10 minutes, which means it's going to be incredibly dangerous. Which, considering they're coming at me pretty fast already, that is possible. And now I'm not going to get the upgrades I want. There's a thought. The splinter makes them split into bats. It's a possibility. No, this is already getting a bit harsh. This setup I don't think is gonna be good enough for this. I did say I was gonna show off the dragon. Let's see if we can live long enough to get the dragon to come out. Till then, we're gonna have a giant egg just kind of floating behind us, doing nothing. So this might be a regrettable idea, with the amount of enemies on screen. Could easily go really badly for me. It could also be great. We could just have our own little pet dragon, and that will save the day. I am going to disappoint a lot of people right now, though, by saying he is most likely not going to save the day. Whether we get him or not, I don't think he's going to save the day. Okay. I hadn't really had a chance to look at the upgrades for it because it just didn't happen to pop up after I got the egg the one time I did get the egg. So I see the logic, though. You need to get the dragon and egg first before you get any other upgrades, and then you start grabbing a couple dragon upgrades right off the top so that they scale the most. We desperately need more immediate combat ability, so I'm gonna take Splinter to find out if they actually splinter into bats. Because if they do, that might be a game changer for us. If I can ever actually manage to kill anything again. Because the crowd is getting so thick that I can't actually hit the same guy enough times to kill him. Yes, they do split into bats. Okay. So every target killed turns into bats and ghosts. That could work out to spread the damage through the crowd, like that, when a bomb goes off. A lot of them perish. Starting to make something of this, though, so we might be okay. Dagger. That'll be a good way to get us a bunch of bats and such spreading naturally through the fight. Yeah, I think these seismic wards are actually more of a harm than a help, because they keep pushing enemies into the path I'm trying to sneak through. I think they're actually a detriment. We are definitely getting somewhere, because crowds are starting to get dispersed by the random explosions that are happening periodically, more or less. Let's get a big shot at this point. Start sending big bats. I was hoping it was going to be a dragon upgrade, because the dragon should be hatching soon. So we got him around the 8-minute mark. there he goes. Little dragon friend who spews fire. You'll notice he's not the best, especially since sometimes his targeting can leave a bit to be desired. So it looks like he actually understands how to target a little better than he did before, so that's good at least. Because the one time I tried him, I swear he just kind of spewed fire into the air randomly for no real reason. Patch today, I think it was either today or yesterday, said that they did buff his damage a little bit. Was it his damage or his attack speed? It was one of the two. They buffed the dragon in somewhat. So I think they acknowledged that he was a bit bleh. Stabby boy. Okay, it looks like they did just put it more or less as the same as the demo was in terms of scaling in time. Because this thing used to be the one major hurdle of the demo. It looks like he might be the one major hurdle here too. Let's go ahead and get Frost Mage at this point. But all these projectiles that are flying around might freeze some of the threats. Try to get some situation control. We are definitely not killing in this guy particularly quick with our current setup. Yet again, those stupid seismic wards got me killed. They knocked an enemy into my path. And I had no other path to take. Okay. I can't unequip it either. I can't unequip it until I get another one. Either way. Point made. That's how that one works. Give me one quick moment to update Twitch about the fact that things are changing. Now this one I've played a fair bit more. So I've got quite a lot of upgrades and quite a lot of things going on with this so far. This is also, I would say, the best one visually that has come out. It doesn't look like it was just made in MS Paint. Quite as much anyway. How do I want to play this initially? Let me try demonstrating the dumbest thing that I had working before. We're just gonna go normal initially just so I can demonstrate this. So, Conrad's fucking huge. He's got a ridiculous health pool, and he has damage reduction natively. You'll notice we can't really attack anything with what I've chosen. We just have these big mines that I'm putting down that things have to walk into to kill them. And the only way he will lay another mine, if it doesn't go off, is I have to get the mine off screen for it to not be counted as existing, so I can put it back into the count, essentially. And what we want is lots of AoE size, because AoE size also makes the physical mine larger. For this stupid plan to work, I'm going to need mines that are bigger than I am. Reroll. Damn it. We'll go ahead and take the Grand Hex for fun. The Grand Hex just makes a giant death circle on the screen. And on the map, there'll be these, which will give us the crystal metacurrency. There'll be shops we can spend the gold at, and there'll be chests, as well as one other thing that we'll get into once we see one. Go ahead and take the cleave, because I'm going to need it. Now, there is one thing to note with this one and some of the others. You can only have 4 of the weapons. Once you have 4, you can't fit any more into your setup, so it'll start only giving you upgrades for those 4 choices. So now we'll only have Orbital Fire, Mine, Hex, and Cleave upgrades showing up, or at least should. Problem is, RNG is going to decide to give us a lot of crap sometimes. I wanted to focus on the mine upgrades, but the game's not having anything to do with that idea, and we're not getting enough gold to reroll. I'm just going to start mashing cooldown reduction onto the scythe to keep the crowd down. Yeah, this one's got enemies of varying shapes and sizes. A lot of the enemies that aren't just like the tiny bat-sized guys will take a fair bit of damage to kill. Even the basic weaklings will get stronger as the timer goes along. Down there, you see the little pink thing there? That's your timer. Each time it hits one of those skulls, a boss enemy will show up till you get to the big skull, which will be the actual final fight. Everything else will disappear, a circle of spears will show up, and you have to fight within that circle as it keeps shrinking to win the run, pretty much. Now, you might be thinking, can anything stop Conrad? And the answer is yes, but in practical terms, not really. At least not on anything other than hard difficulty. On normal, unless you do something really stupid, Conrad is basically unstoppable. His things will do very little damage to him. Now, the big issues with the moves I've got right now is they're very limited. Grand Hex is all well and good, but it's random. It will just appear where it feels like. It does not care if there's 5 enemies or 0 enemies in that location. It just will go off. And you'll notice it's on a, like, 5-second cooldown compared to everything else being either constant or, like, 2 seconds. And that was after putting a bunch of meta progression buffs on Grand Hex in terms of cooldown. Each of the maps also has specific spawn hazards, more or less. Like, this place has those flocks of bees that come through. Or, I suppose, should actually call them swarms of bees, but either way. They'll show up fairly frequently. And they're very lucrative if you can manage to line up a hit on them without getting your face torn off. Very convenient when Grand Hex happens to land on the crowd. I wish that would actually happen, you know, more often. Enough walking around in circles, let's actually start moving around the map, because there is stuff on the map in this game. So you do actually want to keep moving to a degree. Like, here's one of the chests, for example. You will end up sacrificing some experience sometimes if you move around too much. It's a real trade-off whether you actually stick around to keep farming experience or you go looking for currency. I would highly recommend that you prioritize getting currency because you can't even get new weapons available in the pool without getting meta currency. Which I'll show off the meta progression once we finish this run and get a little bit of money to spend. And of course, each boss drops a reward chest, just like the rest of these. The reward chest in this is, sadly, just meta currency. Which is all fine and well, but it's not particularly interesting in run. When I get the option to, I'm going to keep making the Grand Hex bigger, because it's just fun to just watch half the screen explode. And there is a strategy to using the Grand Hex, because you can just bait the enemies into it. But a lot of the time, the enemies move slow enough that by the time they get close to where the Hex is, it's going to go off before they get in there properly. But basically, Conrad's just going to be stomping around until the timer finishes and we kick the boss in the head. Can't quite show off the stupid thing I wanted to show off, because I'm not getting the right rolls. And I think they did nerf this setup a little bit. I think they did weaken the mines a little because they were honestly broken. But I think they are still... I think they can still be broken just as well. It's been a bit. To at least put in perspective the thought process, basically what I'm going to try to do is get my cooldown reduction for my mines down as much as I can, and of course, get the size up as much as possible. To basically just create an exploding shield around myself. Because that's kind of the whole point of these types of games, is just making stupid broken shit so that you survive. Oh. It's a mini Moon Knight. Look out. He's gonna get you. He's gonna put the moon on you. Yeah, see, he's actually a legitimate threat to me, because he can just stick to me, and he does a lot of damage. This is the one part where I'm really in any danger. Because I'm fucking around a lot. And the green beetles are actually kind of dangerous. Even to Conrad. So if I just stand there and eat shit constantly, even Conrad can die. At the amount of damage we've taken, any other character would have died already. Between the damage reduction and the sheer health difference, because Conrad, I think, has double the health of anybody else? Which is just ridiculous. Yeah, right now, the mines are still not fast enough to keep up with me. Done properly, they'd be just constantly popping under my feet and going off. But I just have not gotten the right layout to show up for it. There we go, 1.8. It's going down now. We're getting that count down. And it's starting to get crowded, so we might as well just sit on these mines for the moment. And just defy anybody to try to approach us. Just keep dancing around a bit to make sure I keep picking up the EXP. This is my mind dance, this is my mind dance. Look at me go, look at me go. You can't get near me anymore. Oh, too many mines went off. The thing is, it's getting thrown off because I have to range out to get the souls. But just look at how much they can't get in here. They just can't approach me. Because everything that gets close to me explodes. It just feeds the hungry Conrad. Just feed me power, or innocent minions. Feed me! Oh no, a boss. Whatever shall I do? He just is going to bounce off the mine shield. He can't get anywhere, and now he's gone. It's just that ridiculous. Which is why I don't do this much anymore, because this is just too much. You can't get to your experience half the time, unless you actually have more health left than I left myself with. But you just can't be touched. You just get fed so much money and power so easily from that. There's a shop over there, but we've not really gotten much money. Because I've not seen much in the way of boxes and such to get money from. We've just been sitting here farming souls. We are going to come out of this with a decent amount of meta currency, which is the good part. Doesn't help that I've had to re-roll a couple times just to get things that I wanted. Now, you do not want to open the shop unless you're ready to purchase things. Because even if you don't buy anything, if you close the shop, it will disappear. So you want to be careful of that. I learned that the hard way at one point. And it sucked. So we're just going to stomp around all these boxes over here right quick before we open that shop. Probably still not going to be able to buy that much out of it. But it'll be better than nothing, and I don't want to hang around here too long. Oh, wait, no, there's more boxes, though. Let's get these boxes, too. And there's a lot of variations of each of the mini-bosses. They are functionally identical if they're the same model, whether they've got, like, the extra hats or any of that going on. But at least it's a nice visual change. As they just still all explode before the power of exploding Conrad. Nothing can defeat Conrad. Conrad is invincible! Look at this. I just lead a path of destruction through everything now. And this isn't even the worst this can get. I've had runs where I straight up was able to get basically nothing but mine upgrades back to back to back. And just keep making that more and more ridiculous. Hey, it's DJ Mumbles. Come here. Come here. AoE size. Okay, now that the mines are bigger than my model, even if I just stand here and wiggle back and forth, they basically can't touch me. Is the one big flaw I've noticed with this game is there are no enemies with ranged attacks. So a strategy like that is untouchable. The only way they can get to you is if there's something that takes minimal knockback. Which I don't think there is anything that is that immune to knockback. So once you have big enough mines, you're basically untouchable within the cooldown time of your mines. If you have a long cooldown on it, you're still going to be very touchable. But generally, you're safe. Now I'm going to grab this chest and go back to the shop as fast as Conrad can, because as soon as the boss triggers, we're not going to be able to go to that shop at all. And I would ideally like to pick up whatever currencies he's got in his shop. So we get the biggest payout possible. And this will give me a chance to demonstrate the other stupid thing we can do now. Is basically, as you walk forward, as long as your cooldown's fast enough on your mines, and you can keep them off-screen or hitting something quick enough, you can just keep shielding yourself with mines as you walk. Not that we need it that much with the cooldown we have on our cleave. We can just kind of cut our way through. I think I lost the track where the shop is, but we can open this instead. And this will demonstrate the other mechanic I did not talk about. As soon as it opens, which takes a minute. We get pets. You can have up to 5 pets at a time. And yes, that is just a chicken Conrad. You are seeing exactly what you're meant to be seeing on that one. We're gonna go ahead and take the company insert there, the creature cauldron. It'll give us more experience, and that'll help us get more mine upgrades before the boss shows up. The mine shield idea is just maximum cheese. I don't recommend doing it unless you're actively just trying to farm or money, because it is not the most interesting strategy, but it's really funny at least once. And as soon as I purchased the mines, I was like, yeah, I just have to make these as big as possible and see how stupid this gets. And oh boy, did it get stupid. Now the mines are going to be especially good against this guy because he just charges. The mines will not stop him, so he just goes through all of them and just gets torn apart. If we had gotten the full ridiculous setup, we'd be able to just walk into him and just destroy him with constant detonations. But instead we're going to have to do it the slightly slow way, which might actually lead to us dying. Either by him or by the edge of the arena. Nope, we're fine. And then it just sucks in all of the currency that's still on the screen, and you get a readout of how ridiculous your upgrades got. In this particular case, we got to level 25 mines. The highest level I think I've ever gotten an upgrade was to 40, I think it was? Yeah, you have this whole huge web, known as the Divinity Web, full of meta upgrades, skills, and all kinds of other stuff. Each node that has a actual weapon ability on it will have a bunch of associated passive upgrade nodes that will make that particular ability better. Generally, each of the weapon ability ones out here, and actually at the beginning too, will require you defeating a certain amount of a particular enemy, so you can't just rush out and go buy a ridiculous upgrade. I've been having a devil of a time getting these specific Blade Banshees to spawn, because I don't know where they are. I thought they were in the third area, but they're not. I saw the other version of them, which was just shown on screen a second ago. These. I saw a bunch of these, but I never saw the original version to get the first Shadow Shuriken, so I was always very confused by that one. Can't quite afford that. Oh yeah, and you have to purchase hard mode in each area, so you can't just spam your way straight to a harder area or anything. You have to actually grind up the currency for it, which is sensible but also a bit unfortunate. Go ahead and get an increased cleave size. Flat upgrade. For example, I have every upgrade for the the Grand Hex here possible, which 2 of which reduce the cooldown and 2 of which increase the overall size of it. I still need to get this one, but it's only a 0.2 second reduction for it, so I just didn't bother. Now we're going to actually go into hard mode, so I'm going to be switching what I'm doing. Vivian's whole thing is just about every synergy she has involves dropping more blue souls, which are your experience souls. So if you want to get levels fast, you want to be Vivian. The thing is, she has a lot less health than Conrad. Magnus is a good in-betweener between Vivian and Conrad. He also has synergies relating to healing himself on just about everything. He doesn't have a synergy listed for the Shurikens, and I'm assuming that's because there's still some issues relating to that, because this is an early access game. Bear that in mind in the back of your brain somewhere. This is early access. So there's going to be little odds and ends here and there. Oh yeah, and Conrad's main synergy is mostly size increases. He also has a little bit of heal mixed in there. And that's generally his whole thing. Maxine is an interesting one. She is ridiculously fast, but she is also ridiculously fragile. Her whole thing is most things have massive cooldown reduction. Which is where I started figuring out how you could cheese the mines. I was just flying around on her broom, dropping mines on everything. She's also one of the best ones for Grand Hex since it gets 5 ranks of cooldown reduction. There used to be an issue because she had like a straight 50% cooldown reduction for it, which also reduced the rate at which the upgrades for cooldown reduction would reduce the cooldown. They have since just made it so that she just gets extra ranks of it to clean that issue up. What we'll be doing is we'll be going in with tornadoes on Vivian for going into a more difficult place. I'm going to show you each of the maps before we do hard mode. If we do hard mode. His hard mode is basically the same thing, just a lot nastier. So I don't know if I'm really going to need to show that off, but I might. Increase attack size on the tornadoes. I'm not going to be showing this game off for too long, because there's really not that much to show. We'll go ahead and take the chicken, because the damage reduction for Vivian's going to be great. We'll go ahead and take the Shadow Shurikens. How they work is they just pick a direction and it throws, I think, 6 initially, and then it can scale up to throw more shuriken, but it's committed to that direction when it starts throwing. And it's not a direction you choose, it just is. And I can't even say it's targeted on enemies, because it just kind of sometimes just throws. And it's just sad. Bone Shot's interesting because it's just a pair of bones flying up and down. The advantage to Bone Shot is it stuns. Anything caught in its AoE when it pops like that will be stunned for a little bit. I was hoping to get more tornado upgrades, but the game is insistent on giving you a set of weapons primarily before it gives you upgrades. Which it makes sense. They don't really want you prioritizing one thing over all other things, because that's how it gets particularly busted. And they don't want you super breaking things. They just want you having fun and mildly breaking things. We'll go ahead and take Arrow as well. I'm just kind of taking a mishmash of things and not caring that much about it because the tornadoes are going to be the focus. Because with Vivian, you in particular have to focus your upgrades on the thing you have your synergy for, because you will be getting significantly less souls if you kill with other weapons on her, other than the thing you started with. And the two big things for Tornado is getting size upgrades and number upgrades. So you can just start throwing a giant cone of death in a direction. Is for a long time, your tornadoes are going to do more than enough damage to kill your average mobs. And anything it doesn't kill, it's going to knock back enough that it's not really a problem. The game does not want me doing this. As demonstrated by the way that these are popping out. Which is why I'm focusing whatever other upgrades on the Shadow Shurikens, because they are good for boss killing, and not exactly a huge issue for clearing the crowd and costing me all of the souls I could potentially be getting. Whereas if I upgraded the hell out of the arrow, I'd probably be cutting the crowd down pretty fast, since it pierces. But as you may or may not have seen on the character select screen, Vivian's other main thing is she has increased pickup radius by default. So you can just kind of scoop everything. The biggest issue she runs into, though, aside from just generally being fragile naturally, is she also has very little way of healing. You can only heal by virtue of health pickups on the ground. Unless you're Conrad, more or less. Well, Conrad or Magnus. Magnus has more healing options, but he has so little health by comparison to Conrad that it's kind of a academic point. And yes, I'm ignoring that boss on purpose. I'm not really in a great shape to be killing him, so I'm just kind of letting him chase me around and hope he just dies by proxy at some point. Especially since we don't have tornado cooldown, so the tornadoes take forever to come out. Cooldown being just a good option for every ability you have. We're gonna want Beacon. A little squid friend that'll distract my enemies. What'll happen is periodically he'll just wander off to a spot on the screen, and all enemies will be drawn to that spot. And as you can see, we're just kind of leading a trail of pets around now. Increasing tornado count. Really do with some tornado cooldown, but we'll live, probably. Okay, this is the shop. You can buy pets, meta currency, health, and usually there'll be some souls in here too, but today it's not playing ball with me. So we're gonna buy Scoop, and we're going to buy... I usually have more trouble getting crystals rather than runes, so we're gonna take a stack of crystals and some health. And all of that'll explode out of the tent as it disappears. Which, yes, your health can fly into a position where you will get killed trying to get it. That has, in fact, happened to me before. It is very awkward. Makes me almost wish the stuff just popped straight in your pocket, but at the same time, there's just something kind of satisfying about the piñata effect of the shop exploding into items everywhere. I'm just gonna keep increasing the Shadow Shuriken count just because it's funny to me at this point. It's by no means the most effective answer, but if I don't have a tornado upgrade, I'm just gonna keep getting more Shuriken instead. Just cleanse the world in Shurikens. You'll notice that as the crowd's getting bigger and bigger, especially with Vivian, we're just getting buried in levels. She's just making so many souls with the waves of tornadoes you're throwing around. There's a pet that increases your magnet range, and with Vivian that gets ridiculous. is they do stack. So you just generally eventually start soaking up the entire screen constantly. Which works out great in a spot like this where you can't reach half the damn screen, but you can keep all the enemies trapped in this maze. I'm just waiting for the chest to finish popping, and then I'll move. 8 tornadoes. And you can already see where things are going with these tornadoes with the fact that half the screen gets filled with tornadoes once they start growing. Now just imagine with maxed out tornado size and a better cooldown rate, and you'll understand why tornadoes are real fun. You can just throw, half the screen aside. A giant wave of doom. And as you might imagine, the reason why I recommend Vivian for it is so that you have the guaranteed souls from all the things hit by the tornado. There's at least all the things that die, unlike these giant eyeballs that have too damn much health. Doesn't help that we have gotten no tornado damage upgrades. It's aside from what I've got from meta upgrades. That is one weird thing, though, is you'll notice that boss just kind of fucked off. Beacon wasn't even active. That boss just, for some reason, wasn't targeting me. He just kind of wandered forward. I'm still not sure what's going on with that. No one I've seen do anything with this understands what's happening with that either, that I know of. It's just kind of a weird thing. Nobody knows whether it's like a bug or if it's intended or what's going on there. It's just strange. These games are really good if you just need something to occupy your screen and mildly occupy your thoughts while you do something else, since you can play the whole game one-handed. I have zero control over my attacks. I'm just walking around and trying to live. I am at 20 shuriken now. I've never had that many. I've never had that count get up to that. That is ridiculous. That's the other thing, is just based on RNG, you can end up with things being completely different for a very long time. Oh, I just realized I think they're throwing faster to compensate for how many there are now, too. Rather than it lasting a long time, they just it almost seems like they shrank them and just stuck them together for how many I'm throwing. I just throw a curtain of shurikens. We are the bullet hell now. Nothing is a threat to us. We are a danger. Look at all of this money! You're too kind, video game. You're giving me everything I could possibly desire, and I'm waiting for you to stab me in the back. It's going to happen. 3-second tornadoes. Which, for the record, as far as I can tell, there is no limit to how many times you can pick up an upgrade. Like, say, if it kept spawning, I could keep taking this size upgrade over and over and over again, as long as the game keeps spawning it. It in the list. There doesn't seem to be, like, any caps to anything at all. So if you, say, went into the system and made it give you that every time, you could probably hit an endless number of it, as long as you kept gaining levels. Okay, the shuriken spam is definitely helpful. It just chewed that guy up. Oh, hey, there's the magnet slime. And that's just with one level of Magnet Slime. We pull from, like, most of the screen away. Yeah, normally you'd get encircled by those vine creatures at this point, but as you saw there, we were already firing in a wide enough arc that we just hit most of it before it even fully spawned and it just died. And there we go again. They didn't die this time, though, because the second set of them is tougher. Still not getting any damage upgrades from my tornadoes, which is upsetting. Considering they take up more than half the screen now, it'd be real nice if they actually did damage. Oh, there's a shop right after I wasted some money on a reroll that didn't work out. Great, thanks game. The biggest issue I run into with games like this, especially trying to show people them, is I don't know what the hell to talk about. We're just kind of here. Things are happening. This is a good game to have, like, as a podcast backdrop. Just have this going on in the background while people talk about whatever the hell. I just don't really have a whatever the hell to talk about particularly right now. As I mentioned both in the title and on Twitter, I wasn't really prepared today. I meant to prepare, and then I just kind of didn't. I blame the fact that I got back into playing Phoenix Point, so I just ended up staring at screens all day for that. Which, if you have Humble Choice, Phoenix Point is in there, and I do recommend playing the game. But I will say, if you own it already through Epic and you bought the Season Pass, you are going to get shortchanged a bit on the version that Humble Choice has, because it's only the Year 1 edition, and it's missing 2 DLCs? Which, I will say, not having Festering Skies is not the worst thing, because honestly I kind of hate the mechanics in that, but that's neither here nor there. It is still less content. We're gonna go ahead and buy all the souls, because that's gonna be really interesting. And we're gonna get the large stack of crystals, because I have a sneaking suspicion we might die here because of Boxing Glove Ram. Reduction. He was sticking to us real good for a bit there, but thankfully when the shop goes off, it also does do a minor push on everything around you, so you can use that to knock enemies away. And I apologize if the sound of picking things up is getting tiresome. It's not any better for me. It should be low enough for you guys that it's not too bad with the constant, but it's almost certainly there. If I've got to deal with it, everybody gets to hear it. But as if fulfilling prophecy, tornadoes have become the most busted stupid thing for us again. Just like Victorum. Just look at how it just clears the screen constantly. And we can just keep making them bigger. Like, literally a single tornado is like a quarter of the screen, almost, at max size as they're traveling. It just gets so stupid. So I think since these runs are actually going full length, I might actually only do 3 and then switch to the next thing. I doubt that this is that interesting to watch, considering I'm tuning out a bit just looking at it. And it doesn't help, as I keep saying, that the builds I'm using are not exactly the most fascinating and interesting designs either. They just are the most ridiculous ones I've done as I've been playing this, so it merited showing them off just because they're stupid. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to... No, we'll be fine. I was about to say I don't know if we'll be able to kill him, but as long as we get the shurikens to line up on him, it looks like we're going to just rip him a new one. The shurikens are also not playing ball with that idea particularly well. They keep going the opposite direction of where he is. The tornadoes are definitely keeping his posse at bay. And there he goes. Death by weeb power. And you do get a boost to your totals if you've defeated multiple bosses, including the end boss and everything. There may be like a golden ratio where you can cut runs early, but I don't know. I haven't really dug deep on that. Sure, let's start with even more gold. More gold means more rerolls, and more rerolls are good. Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to demonstrate what happens when you start with only Grand Hex. And I'm going to make it even worse by going to the final zone that's available. As you go through those 3 zones, by the way, they do scale in difficulty, so this is the most dangerous zone. Not counting an area being on hard mode or not hard mode. Hard mode is going to basically be as if you looped around, plus some. His hard mode is fucking brutal. Yeah, you'll notice we are really vulnerable. But notice with those 5 ranks, remember how this started at like 5 seconds for us normally? It's already down to 3.5. Because her starting bonuses are just that strong. I do not think this is a good setup in any real respect, because of the way that Grand Hex has a habit of not hitting what we need it to. But when it works real good. If I can get Grand Hex's cooldown enough, I'll be so happy. I've never managed to get it down really, really low. I think the best I've ever done was getting it to flat 3 seconds. Because the game just decided at that point, no, you're not getting any more of those. Kind of like what's happening right now, as a matter of fact. It's just not having anything to do with that idea anymore. Because it knows what'll happen if it allows that. Let's get the magnet range so I can keep the experience flowing as I keep myself alive. Because now at this point, the strategy is going to turn into run for our fucking life. Because with relying on Grand Hex, we kind of need to stay on the move so that they can be baited into the Grand Hex without us getting trapped. We'll go ahead and take spears for screen clearing, and we haven't seen spears yet. Honestly, spears are pretty good, but I personally don't like them that much because I think they're just kind of boring. They just kind of jab spears out of the ground, which is like yeah, I get that it's very similar to Grand Hex, but at least Grand Hex is goofy enough that it kind of compensates. It's just this giant circle of death. And it's a lot less effective. Making it more entertaining rather than useful. Until you get it really stupidly scaled, at least. The amount of times it's hitting off-screen right now is a bit of a problem. But that's because I keep running away. If I can just get back down there, we might actually be able to get a bunch of souls. Depends on if I can get there quick enough, but I think I was already... No, it wasn't too late. Okay, very good. Sure, more AoE size, yes. Which, that would work out great, too, if I could just max out the size on the Grand Hex so it stops missing. I'm gonna try to give it as many levels as I can. Just across the board. It's been a bit since I've tried the all Grand Hex special. It is such a crapshoot. But I love it anyway. There's just something really fun about it. But as you can see, it very rarely works out well at all. Especially in that area where there's so much more terrain in the way. You have much less room to move. But that does still show off all of that, so we're gonna move on to the next one. On in the line. I just need to explain to Twitch that things are yet again changing. Now, this is one I've not seen very many people do anything with as of yet, but it's pretty good too. This is Gunlocked. It takes the same style of just controlling only your body and not worrying about your attack, and applies it to Shmup. Which feels pretty natural, all things considered. So right now we've got the light rail, which is just a periodic laser that fires forward. You'll see down in the bottom left a blue shield meter. That is our entire health bar. I don't want any of those. I do want that. Basically, I'm going to be going for anything that has the beam tag, because there are synergies in this game that I still have yet to get to work completely how I want them to. That is to say, to get them to work at all. And that crosshair symbol you see appearing on certain enemies is my augment that will fire the light rail at anything that's targeted by it immediately rather than having to wait. We want heat sink because that'll reduce the cooldown of everything. Now, there are a couple more mechanics that are going to come into play as we go along here, too. They just haven't shown up yet. We'll go ahead and increase the targeting speed. That is a massive benefit to the light rail in terms of making it an effective weapon. You don't want to mess with those pink ones because they are bombs. They will knock out all of your abilities for a period of time if you get too close to them when they go off. It really just sucks. See that giant purple circle off of it? That's the bomb's radius. Don't be in that. It does not do friendly fire, so it won't really help us to set them off either. We'll just go ahead and keep upgrading the light rail. Because what the synergies need is a weapon to be max upgraded and then have the right utilities along with it. Oh, I stepped in a bad. Now what's interesting is his missiles also gave us the EXP stuff, which was a bit of an oddity. A welcome oddity. Phone, what do you want? Oh. Put that later. And that is one nice thing this game has, is there's a timer that you saw at the top of the screen when you unpause. Everything will stay paused until that timer is expended to give you a chance to get back ready to take action, essentially. So you don't unpause and fuck yourself. So that's nice. Ah, that's one of the other mechanics, the upgrade data. Let me re-roll this in hopes of getting another beam thing. Oh, I guess that's what we'll take. Okay. What this upgrade data will do is if I can stay in it long enough, it will immediately give me an upgrade for one of my existing items. In this case, the heatsink was upgraded by it. It's basically just a free level for something. Which is a massive improvement over your regular levels in some cases, because you can get so much trash out of the regular level sometimes. Because it'll be giving you so many things that just have nothing to do with what you're building. But you will notice, over there on the left, we can only have 4 weapons, 4 utilities, and 4 augments. To the best of my knowledge, you don't really get other augments unless the synergies count as augments. That I'm not sure about. We want Refractor because it makes beams bounce. That will be a real benefit to us. When it works. The dark orange gems are worth more, so you want to prioritize getting them if you can't get all of them. Just get the dark ones, that'll be better for you on the whole. And this is definitely a game where you have to accept the fact that you're not going to get everything, because so much of it's just going to fly off screen past you. And this right here is the other mechanic. In this particular case, the power-up we got was Nuke, which did 50 damage to everything on screen. There are a bunch of options you'll get as far as that goes. There's a invulnerability one, there's one for auto repair, and there's one that gives you a bunch of free experience that I know of. There may be more than that. Those are just the ones I remember seeing. All of which, though, are pretty useful. The auto repair you gotta be a bit careful with, though, because the moment you take damage, you will stop repairing, even if there was time left in it. Nuke, we'll go ahead and pop that. Ray Palm, that'll set things on fire when you hit them with a beam. The biggest issue with this game is, as nice as this track is, this is the only track in the game that I know of, so it gets real repetitive. There is another stage, but I haven't unlocked it yet because I need to kill more of these Hive Queens. I don't know if I'm close enough to getting it that we'll see it here or not. But you just need to destroy all the round shields around the Hive Queen and then you can damage it itself. But it'll keep rebuilding the shields periodically. Depending on how strong your build is, it shouldn't be too bad, but sometimes it gets to be complicated. Go. Let's see. None of these are what we want. Thankfully, we did get a reroll back by defeating the Hive Queen. And, well, yeah, we'll take Sunstriker. That's at least another beam weapon. Those two circles you see in front of me are where the Sunstriker will hit. It'll alternate back and forth between those 2 points, making the Sunstriker a bit of a crapshoot of a weapon to use, but it's a nice bonus. I wouldn't rely on it, unless you want to go for a real gimmicky build that somehow is prioritizing that, which I have not thought of one. I have tried to consider one, I just never quite got there, in terms of making one that works. Pop everything on screen. Grab all the loot. These chasers are the biggest problem you're gonna have in this game, pretty much. Yeah, and your weapons come in 3 main categories, pretty much. Your standard projectile weapon, a beam weapon, and things like the radar array and the scouting drone, which are lock-on weapons. You generally want to focus on one of them, because the synergies and such primarily work with one type of weapon. Most of the utilities also primarily support one weapon type over all others. There we go, we got phase shift, so now we're invulnerable until that yellow meter at the bottom right disappears, which does not take long. We'll do that to detonate all the enemies. Keep taking upgrades for Conduit, I guess. I'm pretty sure there is one more beam weapon and it's just not showing up. I also would not be opposed to having one of my weapons actually get its last upgrade. Okay, if we can just keep this auto repair for a while, we'll be in good shape. There we go. That fixed most of the damage we've taken. These chasers come in from just the worst angle for this weapon. You pretty much have to get them to chase you up toward the upper end of the screen, so that you have time to fire at them at all. But having them chase you up there means you're gonna get wrecked by other things. Just makes it really unpleasant. Oh, you just had to make me choose between upgrading Refractor and Light Rail, didn't you? I haven't seen that red one still. I think that's actually the default ability of one of the other ships. Not sure. It looks a lot like one of them. But no, the light rail upgrade is definitely the way to go. As nice as Refractor is, we need that just base strength increase. As you see there, the Conduit just doesn't do enough damage. It hits a lot of targets, but it just does not kill very well. Then you start having these jerks that just launch EMPs out of their face. Which it wasn't shown off very well, but one of the shields on the Hive Queen generally would launch an EMP as well. And That's what the Gleaming Cube does, is it's guaranteed to be 30% of what you need for a level no matter how much you need. Refractor. Now, I will admit, this is going to be a bit of a shorter stream today. It's probably going to end when I'm done with this game. Mostly because I don't think these games will go that long. And I don't really have a brilliant plan, nor am I at the best for energy today. It just really wasn't the best day. But I wanted to get something done today, so I'm here making it work. It made sense to just have a short, chill day be these really simple games. Because they are worth bringing attention to, especially since they're just good, cheap experiences. That will last you at least a few hours, generally. They're just not the most watchable things, in my opinion, is why I'm not really committing to running them long-term today. Of course, if you can hear the frantic keyboard tapping, you might not think this is as chill as it seems, but I'm not really that concerned about what happens. This ends up being the actual chill factor to this. Because if I lose, oh well, we just dust ourselves off, get up, and do it again. Ah! The screen flood got a little too much. One moment. See if that ends up meaning anything. No, I did not mean a new game. I keep forgetting that new game for this means restart immediately. So if you want to switch pilots and ships, you need to not do that. Why do I also now have a Discord ping? Is this an important ping? Is this a ping that matters? Ah. That is good news. And yeah, there we go. This is the other synergy thing we saw for the light rail for some reason. Why would aimbot... Maybe that's just something that they use more than one thing. Okay, so we'll give Codename Scout a shot next. He's your default starting choice. Oh, we do have the Rachni belt available, so we'll go there too. Oh good, this place has a different track, thank God. Yeah, how the gun lock works is you have to do the radar sweep to target enemies, and then after it finishes spinning, it will fire off homing shots. It's not great. I'm just gonna be blunt with you on that one. I honestly think that the gun lock and the lock-on weapons in general are kind of some of the weaker weapons. I mean, overall, they probably get stronger because they're guaranteed hits, and they do hit pretty hard, but they're just so awkward, is what I don't like. Go ahead and take the radar array so we can lock onto more targets if we actually manage to hit more targets with the spin. See, if you get a good sweep, you do a lot of work. You can just sweep out a bunch of enemies in one go. But you have to wait for that whole spin to stop. Which, once you get some upgrades for the gun lock, that spin will be faster. It's still not great. That's because it basically is. That is more or less what you're dealing with here, is a fairly slow bullet hell until it reaches the point where it scales up and becomes a horrifying nightmare. This gets nightmare-ish real quick. This drone, though, is real good stuff, as long as you can keep him on track. Which he does float relative to you, so you can kind of drag him into targets. Is the whole time something's in his circle, he'll keep firing. I don't do them very much either. This one in particular, I accepted because I have less I need to think about in terms of anything, because I don't have to actively fire. It does the shooting for me. So I can just focus on not dying. Which is my other issue with the lock-on weapons, because you'd think the lock-on weapons would be the ones you have to put in the least effort to use. But I honestly think they might be the hardest ones to use, because you have to constantly maneuver yourself around to get the radar sweep to actually hit your mark. Unless you focus on little drone buddy over here, which is probably the better choice. Yeah. Not elaborating on that's probably good, but I do know what you mean. Get even more targets, but we're not really hitting our max anymore, so let's just go ahead and get the sentry drone upgrade for now. Give him more of a radius, since he is doing a lot of good work for us. I want that upgrade data. Yes! More gun lock upgrades! Yes! I've not actually had the gun lock get this far upgraded, so I see what I was suspecting about it, in that it becomes really good once you get enough upgrades, but it's a bit of a bastard to get to those upgrades. Now it's sweeping fast enough, you basically don't need to move. It'll hit the whole area around you pretty well. I don't want to know what those clouds do, probably. But we are definitely dying a miserable death. One sec. Why am I also being tagged on Twitter? Yes, more targeting for the drone. Let the drone consume all. I do nothing. Drone does everything. I'm so going to die in a second here because I have, like, no shields left. I really should have got a repair drone, but I don't think the repair drone popped up on this run yet, has it? Okay, new helps. Waymines, discharger, more sentry drone it is. Oh my god, look at the size of that. That is almost as big as my gun lock radius now, and it just spam fires. I approve. That gives me such area control. Oh, shielded enemies are immune to being locked onto. Ooh, that's a new wrinkle. I don't like that. I don't like that. No, I don't like that. I'm sorry, I do not like that, because that basically means I can't kill shielded enemies at all. That upsets me real great. Go phase shift Sting King, huh? Okay. Oh, is a crab. Giant enemy crab. Oh, there we go. His claws are the targetable point. Okay, and they're only targetable when he is not attacking. Okay, very good. I'm not a fan of his coverage, though. He hits a lot of area real well. Oh, I blew the claws off, but he no longer has claws. All in all, I think that's a more dynamic fight than the Hive Queen, but I think it might actually be easier. Because it's not just blocking a whole section of screen constantly. So you still have more room to move, even with the rocks on the sides. Thankfully, we can just kind of ignore the shielded guy. He's not really my problem. We've recovered surprisingly well. Yes. Ah, it almost looked like it was going to the scout drone and I was about to laugh. I don't even remember what that other drone does. The one that just got upgraded. I don't even know. Oh, there we go. Nope, that doesn't really help me that much. We're gonna go ahead and take the maxed out gun lock. I'm not sure that's actually an improvement, the fact that it spins twice now. Because we have to wait longer for the shots to go off now. But it does mean we're guaranteed to hit more targets, so I guess I see it. I don't know if I care for it personally, ends up being the thing. Though the scout drone just continuing to go apeshit is pretty great. What's this thing? I assume it was some kind of turret or something. get rid of those so we don't have to figure out what they do. There we go, maxed out sentry drone too now. Both my weapons are capped out. Very good. Maximum weapon power. All power to guns, yes. Yes, phase shift again. Make me immortal. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, he's got orbiting rocks. And a lot of health. There we go. What does that say? Does he just not die? The fuck? This is at least on target, so I'm gonna keep grabbing that. Basically, as long as an item has the right keyword, I'm gonna keep taking it until something good happens, hopefully. I don't remember what all was on the synergy list for Gunlock and the other one anymore. I'm just going to assume it's mostly things on the right keywords. I think you have to have the entire synergy list for the special effect to happen. They did say that they purposely made them really rare. And that you couldn't get them till like 10 minutes in, I think they said. Something like that. So most likely we have to get all of the upgrades for all of the things on that synergy list. Which the magnet is not on that list. Oh yeah, that's the other pickup. 90% cooldown reduction for a bit. So your weapons just go crazy for a while. Not as wild for this weapon setup, because it just makes the spinning go crazy, but unlike the machine gun, it gets stupid, and it's real fun. We are almost dead again now that the game's taken the gloves off again. It goes in phases. It'll give you a while where it's like really easy to lull you into a false sense of security, and then it takes the gloves off again and kicks your teeth in. As you see, it takes the gloves off to make you think it's gonna punch you, and then it kicks you in the face. And then I just fly into a projectile and destroy myself, because I'm good at video games. Okay, now we'll show off the last pilot, codenamed Badger, with his auto turret and his pulse cannon. Okay. We'll go ahead and go to the Rachni Belt again, since I've not been there that much, and this seems to be a pretty nice place by comparison to the other one. Now, the annoying thing with the pulse cannon is as you can see, it cycles between 3 points that it fires at. So it's very likely it'll just cycle away from your target, just in time to ruin everything. Which is where the auto turret comes in. As long as the auto turret's off cooldown, it will fire 2 shots quickly at anything that's near you. Making it arguably the better part of this kit. Oh god, it's giving me everything I don't want. Yeah, sure, we'll take the repair drone. Because I'm gonna fucking need it. RNG's just not being kind. Yeah, this is what the repair drone does. It just spawns a little blue drone periodically on the screen. You've got to go to where it is in order to get the healing from it. Ley mines are a projectile weapon, so I'll take them. we're just gonna end up with lots of blue circles on the screen, basically. Is how the ley mines work is, rather than what you would think where you have to get them to hit the enemies, you actually have to go touch the ley mines for the projectiles to launch out of them. They kinda suck, in my opinion. Like, a lot of the weapons in this game are so situational and janky and weird that it is such a pain to make them work. There's the shock bombs, which are another example of a bit jank, but they're better at least. They'll always land where you see these circles appear on screen. You just need to line up the circles with where you want them to go, because they're always a set distance ahead of you. So they're at least a somewhat controllable weapon. It does decent damage once you get a couple upgrades on them. What's really got me sad is we're not getting the utility that would be very nice to have for projectiles. Ah, there we go, Replicator. Add an additional projectile to all non-homing projectile weapons. So now we throw 3 bombs, we shoot more bullets, the ley mines spread shots, give more shots. Just everything's generally better. The first level of Replicator's nothing to write home about. It gets a lot better from there. We get another projectile, which makes us throw 4 bombs. I swear there's some kind of weird scaling with the plasma cannon and the replicator, because I feel like we're getting more than 2 more projectiles out of the pulse cannon. I'm gonna keep saying plasma cannon and pulse cannon, just ignore me as far as that goes. I mean the same thing. Yeah, as long as this run's not super short, this is probably going to be end of stream after this one. Because that'll put us nicely to around the 3-hour mark. Short, simple day. Oh, some nice, simple, little silly games. And be sad as I get all the wrong weapon upgrades, because these are fucking useless to me. Apparently my chat disconnected at some point, because now it's saying welcome to the chat room. I didn't drop any frames or anything. Did anybody else notice anything weird? Is it definitely disconnected the chat? Okay, so Twitch is just having a day. Okay, fair enough. It would not surprise me if Twitch is just having a day, because Twitch has many days like that. Guess I'll just take the shockwave in case things get in my face, even though now we're not going to be able to get all the right weapons. Actually, was there another projectile weapon? I don't think there was. I think we're okay. The shockwave is very useful. The Kineto shield is nice too. We'll go ahead and take a increase to that till I can see what my synergies were again. Because I don't think I can check them. Yeah, no, I can't check them on that screen, and I don't think there is a screen to check them. Which is, this game's big flaw is you don't really have like an inventory screen you can check to see what your synergies are, to try to plan. You're just kind of stuck, hoping it shows up so you can check it. Though I'm noticing one problem with the gravity wave in that I'm throwing everything off the screen. Which is all well and good for keeping us alive. Not so great for, you know, getting experience. Oh yeah, this can knock out the mines and such. Not that I've ever particularly cared about that. I do want the discharger, though. When enemies die, they'll burst into bullets, and the bullets are affected by the replicator. So the spray that fires off is pretty nice. The problem with the disruptor is that they will not always pop into bullets. And it has a very bad habit of them not actually popping into bullets at all. I'm also getting slightly concerned about the way I'm throwing those rocks around. I feel like I'm going to end up destroying myself with those at some point. Parking my repair drone while he does his thing. This is gonna take us longer to kill him, I think, than it did for the lock-on weapons. Because we don't really, like, gain an advantage by not locking on. Flying into all kinds of bad, too, trying to get a better shot at him. Yeah, we are probably gonna die just by virtue of me trying to speed that fight up. So let's be real, that's nothing new. That's been 90% of my deaths in anything I've played of late. It's like, okay, let's speed this up, dead. I mean, it got faster, just not for the right team. If Twitch is having a funky day, it's not a bad idea to make sure today's stream is kind of short then, to make sure we don't end up having any real issues because of Twitch having Twitch issues. That's not great. I can't say I've seen that issue that much, but at the same time, I'm not that active. I usually am just sitting there staring at things if I'm in somebody's chat, so it wouldn't surprise me if I just didn't notice. There we go, we've got maxed out replicator now. Appreciate the host, Spanky. We're doing alright. We're not going to be going too much longer, admittedly, but I do appreciate it. How you doing? Yeah, I feel that. How is Serious Sam 4 anyway? I have not picked that one up yet. Hopefully the tooth is not bothering you much. I know there's no reality in which it's not going to bother you at all, because that's just not how that works out, ever. As nice a thought as that would be. Yeah, there's always some rough edges to those games, which is technically part of the charm. It really depends on which one, because some of them it is definitely not. But it is a good dumb franchise. That's pretty much the whole thing for it. It's very good for being very dumb. It's kind of like Duke Nukem in that way, that it's just it exists to be just kind of cheesy and blow up things. Ah, I see what you mean with the disconnecting. Okay, good. Those pop-ups did not show up on stream. Epic popped up some crap on the side of my screen that I can't be bothered to deal with right now, so since nobody else can see it, I'm not gonna worry about it. I do not want to click out of the game to deal with them right now, since they're not obstructing anything important to me. Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. They're trying so hard to be relevant, and in a lot of cases, their attempts to be relevant make it worse for them rather than better. As far as Epic goes. Now, I remember seeing somebody do a ridiculously large-scale co-op of, I think it was Serious Sam 3, and that was a thing to behold. Is apparently you can actually fit a lot of people into that game. Like, a lot. For some reason. Like, when I say a lot, I don't mean like 5 people. I mean like double-digit number of people. For some god unwritten reason. And it was madness. Exactly. About the only time you need your brain is when you're on the higher difficulties, and even then, you're generally just reacting rather than thinking anyway. And hell, I'd be lying if I was thinking much about what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of wiggling the ship and trying desperately not to be touched by things. Oh, here we go again. Overclock. Yeah. Bullets everywhere. And it's gone. Let's get a pulse cannon upgrade. Okay, so basically the same thing they've usually been doing, which is kind of aping whatever the popular mechanics were from a little bit before or the game comes out. Like, they don't use those mechanics in a serious capacity, but they just tack them in there just because it's like, yep, we're paying attention, see? We know what's cool. We know what's hip. Which is honestly, as long as they remain aware that that's what they're doing, it's great. It's when a development team gets a little up their own ass about that kind of idea where it starts to get bad. Fair. I was considering picking up Project Warlock 2 since it came out today, but I decided to give it a bit of time, since it did come out in early access. And the first game did have its shaky bits to it, so I'm not sure I want to jump straight into that. I also was not in the mood for fast-paced shooter for today. But I would highly recommend at least the first game. I cannot recommend the second one yet since I haven't played it. Yeah, let's take the repair drone upgrade. It's a good quick game, so I would recommend giving it more of a shot. You can probably beat the game in like 6 hours, as long as you don't get stuck. I say 6 hours because I ended up getting some really good upgrades together on one of my weapons, which made it a bit stupid, so that may have helped me get through the game faster than I was intended to. Because at the very least at the time in early access that I played it, there were definitely some kind of unbalanced upgrades. I don't know if they're still as bad or not. Yeah. I definitely went through that in the first couple levels, too, realizing that... And then I realized that the secrets are a bit of a pain. But yeah, I believe they are just skill levels and such that are in them. Which are nice, but not required. So eventually, once I just had the one good setup, I just gave up on it and just hammered through the rest of it. Just to finish the game. I would highly recommend, though, going all the way through and getting everything, because that's the way those kind of games are meant to be done, to a degree. But at the same time, it's a do-as-you-wish situation, as would be with anything. I did not experience that, but I would not be surprised if that is possible. I did definitely have a couple points where it felt real dicey, because I didn't have strong enough anything. But you can definitely get through it. It just gets a lot harder. So you could almost consider it kind of like an adaptive difficulty. How hard do you want it to be? If you want it to kick you in the face constantly, then don't bother getting anything. It'll be as hard as is possible at that point, and the game will hate you. Whereas if you get everything, the game will probably be significantly easier. Kind of like doing side quests in something like Skyrim or such. You will end up getting a lot more levels and get a lot more skills and such in time for doing whatever the main thing is, which will heavily modify what the difficulty of everything's going to be. Skyrim's kind of a bad example since it's supposed to adapt to that, and it sort of does. I've always questioned their adaptive difficulty, because it's a real crapshoot. Yeah, that's probably for the best. I would not recommend that idea. Oh, we actually won a run. That's, I think, the first run I've ever won of this game. I was not paying attention to the timer at all. Did not realize we had hit 15 minutes. Huh. We did it. Well, I said that was gonna be last run, and even a winning run is gonna count on that one. Let me see who's doing what. If nobody's doing anything, I may just grab another thing and keep going. On Earth. Yeah. I would almost think you phrased it badly on purpose with the way that one lined up. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Phasmophobia, but we might be able to make Critter jump by raiding. So that might be fun in and of itself. So we'll go ahead and raid Curious Critter. I mean, it doesn't help that we both have a very similar sense of humor. So all I have to do is go, okay, is this something I would have done? Then yeah, that's something Spanky probably would say. But either way, thank you all for taking the time to swing by, even though this was kind of short and very laid back, which, let's be real, more often than not, I'm pretty laid back to begin with. Yeah. I'm never going to do Phasmo, probably. I may meme with some Call of Duty at some point, just because of there may be something dumb I can do with it, but I'll never, like, purposely seek it out. And, well, I won't say I'll never play Phasmo, because I may make, like, a sub-goal or something for that, just because people are going to clamor for it. Fair. I'm a little more flexible on the cat ears, but I'm not going to seek that out either. But either way, I'm going to send it now, because we could end up in this conversation for the next who goddamn knows how long. Not that that would necessarily be a bad thing, but... And nor would it be the first time I've ended up getting ready to end and having an hour-long conversation extend the stream. But either way, be good to Critter and have a good one, everybody.